Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share with you 7 brutal but liberating Stoic laws that can destroy self-doubt forever and help you rewire your mind for strength, clarity, and confidence. Stoicism is not just a philosophy, it's a toolkit for mastering life's most difficult battles. And the greatest battle you will ever fight is the one inside your own head. Law A1: control what you can, release what you can't. Self-doubt thrives when we obsess over things beyond our control. The Stoics teach us to focus only on what lies within our power, our thoughts, actions, and choices. When you stop wasting energy on outcomes you cannot dictate, you free your mind from worry and strengthen your confidence in what you can shape. Law A2A: pain is not the enemy, avoidance is fear, and doubt often come from running away from discomfort. The Stoics believe pain is a teacher, not a curse. Every challenge builds resilience, and every setback sharpens your will. The more you face discomfort, the less power it has over you. Law A3: the opinion of others means nothing. Most of our doubts are born from the fear of judgment. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You are not disturbed by events, but by your opinion of them." What people say is outside your control, so why chain your worth to their thoughts? Your value does not shrink or expand based on someone else's perception. Law Fate 4: discipline over desire. Self-doubt grows when we let impulses and distractions rule us. The Stoic path is about discipline, doing what must be done, not what feels good in the moment. Confidence is built through self-respect, and self-respect is earned through discipline. Law Heinpfeife: death is the reminder, life is the test. When you remember that your time is limited, hesitation loses its grip. Every day could be your last. Self-doubt keeps you frozen, but memento mori, the Stoic practice of remembering death, pushes you to act boldly, to speak your truth, and to live fully without fear of failure. Law Phase 60: adversity reveals the self, not success. Self-doubt often whispers, "I'm not strong enough." The Stoics flip this. Strength isn't proven in comfort, but in adversity. Every obstacle is not a wall, but a doorway to growth. When life tests you, don't curse it. Thank it, because it is shaping the warrior within. Law Phase 70: the mind is your kingdom. The ultimate Stoic law is this: no one can harm your mind unless you allow them to. Circumstances, insults, losses, they can shake the body, but they cannot touch your inner fortress. Guard your thoughts like treasure, for your mind is the kingdom where confidence reigns and doubt dies. So, my friends, these 7 brutal laws are not gentle. They are raw, demanding, and unapologetic. But if you live them, they will dismantle every shadow of self-doubt and replace it with unshakable strength, Rewire your mind with Stoicism, and you'll discover that confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build law by law, choice by choice, day by day. Thank you. The first brutal Stoic law teaches us to control what we can and release what we cannot. This simple principle holds the power to dissolve much of the self-doubt that eats away at our confidence. When we overthink the outcome of events or obsess over things outside of our reach, we give doubt a fertile ground to grow. For example, if you prepare for an interview, you can control your preparation, your confidence, and the way you present yourself, but you cannot control the mood of the interviewer or the decisions of the company. Doubt comes when we start worrying about those uncontrollable elements, but peace and strength arrive when we place our focus solely on our effort and our response. The Stoics understood that trying to control everything is the root of frustration. By shifting attention back to what lies within your influence, your discipline, your thoughts, your character, you take back your power. This mindset rewires the brain to stop wasting energy on shadows and to direct it toward meaningful action. Every time self-doubt arises, remind yourself that you can choose your perspective and your actions and your response. That is your domain, your fortress. Once you master this, outside noise, judgment, or uncertainty lose their grip. You begin to live with a clear mind because you understand that what is beyond your control is not your responsibility. This law is not about ignoring reality, but about accepting it fully and refusing to be enslaved by it. Confidence is born not from controlling the world, but from controlling yourself. And once you grasp this, self-doubt finds no room to survive. The second Stoic law reminds us that pain is not the enemy, avoidance is. Most self-doubt arises from the fear of discomfort, the fear of failing, or the fear of being hurt. We hesitate because our minds whisper that pain is unbearable, when in reality it is the very fire that forges strength. The Stoics believed that every difficulty, every struggle, and every ounce of pain carries within it an opportunity to build resilience. When you run away from pain, you run into weakness, and weakness fuels doubt. But when you confront pain head on, you discover that you are far stronger than you imagined. Think of the athlete who grows through the pain of training, or the entrepreneur who learns through the pain of setbacks. Their growth comes not in spite of pain, but because of it. Avoidance creates a cycle of hesitation, and hesitation feeds self-doubt. Pain, on the other hand, teaches endurance, courage, and clarity. The Stoics encouraged us to lean into discomfort because it reveals the truth. Life's hardships are temporary, but the strength they produce is permanent. When you learn to see pain as a teacher rather than a curse, you stop fearing it and start embracing it. And in that shift, self-doubt begins to crumble. You realize that even if the road is difficult, you have the power to endure it. And every step through discomfort sharpens your confidence. The enemy is not the challenge itself, but the belief that you cannot face it. Replace avoidance with courage, and doubt will vanish, leaving behind a mind wired for strength and resilience. The third Stoic law teaches us that the opinion of others means nothing, and this truth alone can free us from a lifetime of self-doubt. So much of our hesitation and insecurity comes from the fear of how people will see us, judge us, or talk about us. We imagine the whispers, the laughter, or the criticism, and it paralyzes us before we even take the first step. But the Stoics remind us that what others think is entirely beyond our control. Their judgments are shaped by their own experiences, their biases, and their insecurities, not by our true worth. When we tie our confidence to their approval, we hand them the keys to our happiness, and doubt takes root in our hearts. Freedom begins when we cut that chain and stand firm in our own values and choices. Consider Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the most powerful empire, yet constantly reminded himself that the applause or criticism of the crowd meant nothing compared to his duty to live with wisdom and integrity. You do not need the validation of others to confirm your strength. You only need the conviction that you are living true to yourself. The opinions of others are like passing winds. They come and go, but they do not change the ground you stand on unless you allow them to. When you detach your sense of self from external judgment, self-doubt loses its sharpest weapon. You begin to act boldly, speak honestly, and live fully without constantly looking over your shoulder. Confidence is not the absence of criticism, but the refusal to let it define you. When you understand this Stoic law, you discover the unshakable freedom of self-trust, and in that space, doubt cannot survive. The fourth Stoic law teaches us that discipline is greater than desire, and it is through discipline that we destroy self-doubt and build lasting confidence. Desire is fleeting. It tempts us with comfort, with shortcuts, with the illusion of ease. But discipline demands consistency, sacrifice, and persistence. It is not glamorous, yet it is the foundation of unshakable strength. Self-doubt often creeps in when we break promises to ourselves, when we allow distraction or laziness to override what we know we must do. Every time we choose comfort over discipline, we weaken the trust we have in ourselves, and doubt grows louder. But every act of discipline, no matter how small, strengthens our self-respect. When you wake up early to train, when you finish the work you committed to, when you resist the temptation that derails your progress, you are silently proving to yourself that you can be trusted. That proof builds confidence far deeper than words or affirmations ever could. The Stoics understood that freedom is not found in indulgence, but in mastery of the self. True confidence is not about waiting to feel ready. It is about acting with discipline, even when you don't feel like it. The repetition of disciplined choices rewires your mind to trust your own power. Over time, doubt fades because you no longer question your ability. You have evidence through your actions. Discipline is the antidote to hesitation, the destroyer of excuses, and the builder of inner strength. Desire seeks the easy path, but discipline forges the warrior. And when you live by this Stoic law, self-doubt finds no place to live, because your life itself becomes proof of your capability. The fifth Stoic law reminds us that death is the ultimate reminder and life is the ultimate test. The Stoics practiced memento mori, the daily reflection that life is short and tomorrow is not guaranteed. At first, this may sound dark, but in reality, it is the most liberating thought you can hold. Self-doubt thrives when we believe we have endless time, when we think we can wait for the perfect moment, or when we let fear delay our actions. But when you realize that your days are numbered, hesitation loses its grip. You understand that every moment wasted in doubt is a moment of life you will never get back. Death strips away illusions and reveals what truly matters: courage, integrity, and living fully. Think of all the opportunities you have delayed because you doubted yourself. Speaking up, pursuing a dream, or taking a bold step. If you knew today was your last, would the fear of failure still matter? The Stoics would say no, because failure, embarrassment, or rejection pale in comparison to the tragedy of never trying at all. When you live with the awareness of mortality, you act with urgency and clarity. You stop waiting for permission, and you stop postponing your courage. Every decision becomes sharper, every choice more intentional, and self-doubt shrinks because there is no room for hesitation in a life that knows its time is limited. The reminder of death is not meant to paralyze you, but to push you into fearless action. Life is the test, and the only way to pass it is to live boldly before the clock runs out. Embrace this law, and you will find doubt powerless against the fire of urgency within you. The sixth Stoic law teaches us that the mind is your kingdom, and no one can rule it unless you allow them to. External circumstances, insults, failures, and even losses may touch your body or your possessions, but they cannot harm your inner world unless you open the gates. Self-doubt arises when we let outside voices invade the walls of our mind, when we give more power to circumstances than to our own judgment. The Stoics believed that true freedom is internal, the ability to remain steady and unshaken regardless of what happens outside. If your mind is strong, no storm can destroy you. This does not mean ignoring pain or pretending challenges don't exist, but it means refusing to hand over control of your thoughts to negativity. Think of your mind as a fortress when guarded with discipline, wisdom, and perspective. No enemy can break in. When left undefended, even the smallest insult can topple your peace. Self-doubt sneaks in when you fail to protect the gate, but when you reclaim your authority, it loses its power. Confidence grows when you realize that you alone decide what thoughts to believe and what judgments to reject. The world may call you unworthy, but if your mind declares you strong, you will act with strength. The world may push you toward fear, but if your mind chooses courage, fear dissolves. Mastering your inner kingdom is the highest Stoic practice, because from it flows all freedom, clarity, and resilience. Once you truly grasp that your mind is sovereign territory, untouchable by external chaos, self-doubt dies at the walls. You become unshakable because nothing and no one can take away the throne of your inner world.